Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/Entitled People. Entitled brother tried to trick me into letting him live with me. Just a heads up, this is a TLDR post. This happened around Christmas. My grandmother had died the previous year, and my brother had been living with her. However, after being told before my grandmother died that the house would be sold, he refused to move out, saying, "I'm working on it." Not sure what he was working on, but it didn't look like anything whenever we came by to give him food. He has a job, yet never seemed to buy food. He always calls me up, demanding some of mine or demands it from my mother. Well, Christmas, I was terribly ill. I had called out of work and wrote on Facebook that I didn't want to be bothered. The doctor said it was just a cold, but it was horrible. Whenever I breathed, I wheezed and rattled. I felt like I was in no fit state to do anything. However, my ever-loving family didn't accept sickness as a reason to skip Christmas. So my brother came and complained as he dragged me out to take me to our mother's. In the car, he smoked and said I was faking my sickness as I kept having coughing fits. He went on and on about how mom was selling the house right from underneath him, how the house belonged to him, how mom gave away grandma's car to our sister when it was his, and so forth. I was trying to stay awake, but I wasn't well, and him telling me all the things that belonged to him that weren't his was boring me. We got to my mom's, and it was a nice time. Well, I think it was. I fell asleep and was woken up for dinner. My brother was mad that he got yelled at for smoking near a sick person. Dinner was the eye-opener. "It is so nice that you are allowing your brother to live with you. I had no idea you were so close," said my mother. "What? No, Have some more water, you sound terrible," said my brother, forcing water onto me. "I was worried he had no place to stay, but you're helping him," my mom went on. "Yes, she is, like a good big sister. She invited me to come take care of her. You know, 'cause she is special and all," said my brother. "No, I didn't. He's not." I tried to say, but ended up in a coughing fit. "She didn't invite you to stay?" asked my mom. "She did!" cried my brother before he leaned over and whispered to me, "Don't be a wuss bag, you." I don't even want to write the slur he said here. "I am not able to have anyone else on my lease or to live with me," I choked out after my fit. "We'll lie," said my brother cheerfully. I glared at him. "How will I lie? I am special, and special people can't lie." I snapped as best as I could at him. Well, that ended dinner. Before, my brother was supposed to take me home. My mom offered, but my brother insisted he would. I had learned from my sisters, brother, father, and mother that my brother had been going around telling everyone that he was moving in with me. He had told them that I was going to get a bigger place and he wouldn't even have to pay rent. I couldn't believe it. He drove me home. I was mad, but he was going on about how homeless he was when we were going back. So stupidly, after he brought in the gifts from others to me, I allowed him to stay the night. I figured, it's Christmas, it is a nice thing to do after all. This was a terrible idea. He smoked, so my place smelled like a smoker's place. He blasted the TV, even after I told him not to. "The neighbors won't mind," he said. He raided my kitchen to the point I needed to go food shopping right away. And he wouldn't leave until I grabbed the phone and told him I was going to call the cops and then mom. After his visit, he kept telling people he was going to live with me. I took longer to recover from the cold. And while cleaning up the mess he left, I found soot marks and even a needle full of strange stuff mixed in with my cat's toys. Mind you, I found that needle by the fact I almost got it in the foot. My home looked like a rock star trashed it. My friends came over and helped me finish cleaning. As the new year hit, my mom thanked me for helping my brother. And I told her, I am not. I love him. For God's sake, I do love him. But he is not welcome to my home ever again. I'm so mad at him, I don't want to see him. "But he is homeless." His fault. He had over a year to find a place. I found one in less than 30 days when you guys kicked me out of the house. "But he's your brother." whom partied like a rock star in my apartment and smoked around someone who can't breathe. Yeah, not having it. Also, there was a needle here. You're diabetic. Is it yours? No, I'll ask your brother. Thought that was the end of it. But a few days after that, my friend and I were at my place when my brother stopped in to check on me. As I was now mostly recovered, he explained the needle with an answer that was slang for a certain drug that he said he was injecting into warts to get rid of them. And he demanded it back. I told him I threw it out. He offered to take out my trash, which I repeatedly told him I was fine. He finished by giving me a long-winded speech about how useful it would be to have him live with me. I literally had to push him out the door and tell him I'd rather be eaten alive by piranhas than ever live with him again, as he is a nightmare. As it stands, it has been about 9 months since then. He is now mooching off his friend and still telling anyone who will listen how he turned me down when I asked him to live with me. My mom is honestly getting a bit of a laugh out of it since my brother has been changing the story so much over all this time. I haven't seen him since I made him leave, and honestly, I'm good with that. So, just from the connotations here, the concept of her being so-called special and maybe potentially needing someone to help her and saying that she can't lie because she's special, I'm just going to make an assumption here, which could be completely incorrect, but I wonder if this might be autism. I know that a lot of people live just fine by themselves or with very limited supports by themselves. The thing about this is, whether it's autism or something else, he is, 1, extremely demeaning toward her, 2, is clearly trying to take advantage of the fact that she's whatever she is, and thinks that by telling everyone around her, he can pressure her and manipulate her into doing what he wants, and then manages to weasel his way in. I'm so glad you were able to get him out of the house that first day, because my god, I don't know. Oh my god, that makes me angry, honestly. Yeah, he's entitled, but he's like insufferable, and it's just so frustrating just to see like the clear amounts of like premeditated manipulation that was going on here for him to do what he wants. Like, he's just kind of a nasty person. I'm sorry, but he is. Neighbor thinks she can get me banned from my workplace. Hey, this happened last week, and for context, I, 18 female, have always lived in the same house in the countryside, with the same neighbors, a rich family with 2 daughters at least 8 years older than me. When I was a kid, I think things were going quite okay, but as the years passed, they started to respect us less and less, and would often get into fights with my parents because of their attitude and noise. They're basically the worst neighbors you can think of. I don't remember exactly when, but I was about 8 years old when they even stopped saying hello to me or even reply when I greeted them. They basically stopped acknowledging my existence, and I remember it hurting me a lot. Now, we could have complained about them when they stepped out of line, but we knew they had way more money and power than us, and that if they wanted to get us into trouble, they could. It came to a close call once when my father snapped at one of the daughters a few years ago. Let's call her Julie. She's the entitled person in this story. Now, Julie and I have one common passion: horses. And of course, we ended up at the same riding center, which is surprising because I would have expected her to choose a more classy and prestigious stable. I've been going there since I was 11, but haven't seen her much because we didn't go there on the same days. At the beginning of 2020, her horse died, so she stopped coming. But in the summer, she came back and asked if there was any horse she could buy. I think she's now a part owner of a lovely mare. In the meantime, I had started working in the stable on the weekends and got to know pretty much all the regular riders and owners that frequent it. The manager of the center knows me well, and he lets me take care of one of his horses as if he were my own, so I've been going to the stables every day after school as well, and therefore, I've seen Julie a lot. The funny thing is, she's tried so hard to ignore me for the past 10 years that she doesn't know what I look like anymore, and therefore hasn't recognized me at all. She just thinks I'm a simple horse girl and not the person who has been living next to her for 18 years. I haven't said anything to anyone about it because I don't want to cause trouble. What happens at home has nothing to do with the writing center. While we don't really talk to each other, we at least say hi and the regular have a nice ride and such, as everyone does where I live. But I think she put the pieces together a few weeks ago because she began giving me dirty looks at the stables. Again, I don't really know what I did to her except merely existing. But for some reason, she wants to cause my family trouble and began crap talking about me. Now, I like to think I'm pretty well liked among the regulars here and have no problems with anyone. I've heard from a few friends that Julie had been talking about me, so I just admitted that she was indeed my neighbor and that our families didn't go along well, but that I never wanted to bring our personal problems at the writing center. Obviously, she doesn't hold the same views as me. At first, I didn't pay it any attention, but then she started talking to my boss, the stable's owner, about me. He was the one telling me about it, but he didn't go into the details. Apparently, she had been asking crap like, is she even qualified? And she's not very polite. She's been causing problems with the horse owners, which is utter BS if you ask me, and basically pressuring him into firing me. Well, that obviously didn't happen because my boss is not someone you can manipulate like that, and he saw right through her crap. He warned her that if he ever heard one more bad word about me, he would ban her from the writing center. Ha! Sorry for my bad English. Good job, stable owner. You rock. I like people who do understand the content, the quality of a person, the content of someone's character, all those sorts of things about someone, and know when people are just trying to throw their weight around, you know what I mean? And just put people in their place. And I like that person. I don't like your neighbor though, and I don't understand why your neighbors have to be so pretentious. That's really weird. I was verbally attacked for taking a walk-in patient before one who had been waiting for hours. This happened years ago when I was an intern. I work in radiology. We received a call that a baby in an incubator on oxygen needed an urgent x-ray. The ambulance, sirens blazing, came and the ambulance techs literally jogged in while carrying the incubator and oxygen tank. I took them straight into the exam room. My senior did the exam while I exited the room. I was immediately stopped by 3 adults in their 30s or 40s. They demanded to know why that patient had been taken in first when they had clearly just come in from out of the department. They were leaning in, talking over each other, demanding why their mother hadn't been taken in for her exam first, as they had been waiting for hours. Not true. I didn't get a word in. I just stood there slack-jawed. Their mother, who was sitting on a wheelchair, in a gentle voice, then said that it was okay and asked them if they couldn't see that it was a baby in an incubator who had been brought in by an ambulance. She went on to add that her ankle had been sprained 3 days earlier anyway, and waiting a few more minutes would do no harm. That shut them up. I just walked away. Sounds crazy, but to this day when I think about it, I just shake my head. I get being protective over a parent and stuff like that, but there's this thing called triage, and when there's a baby, in a state of extreme emergency that needs something done, in an extreme emergency, that's gonna happen before someone looking at your sprained ankle. It just is. That's just how things work. You know what I mean? Okay. At least the lady was nice and understanding and kind of was able to rein in her adult children. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they felt that they had been brushed aside before. I don't know. But it sounds kind of like a whole group of Karen-like attitudes, and it's kind of weird when you have such a nice-sounding mom. Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Real quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you're interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original post from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!